Welcome to the Disreputable podcast. My name is Brandon. I'm the co-host with Dean Curry. We're so excited that you're tuning in. We have so many things planned. You're in for a special treat. Over the next few episodes, you're going to hear different things about life, leadership, but you can count on this. It's probably going to be disreputable. So if for whatever reason you've already arrived, or people like you just as you are, maybe this isn't for you. But if you found yourself at some point with a disreputable reputation, then this podcast is for you. Thanks for listening. Welcome, everybody, to the Disreputable Podcast, Episode 6. My name is Brandon, and we are so grateful that you have been tuning in. I have some special guests with me today.
Hey.
My colleagues and friends, Tate and Melanie. Say hi.
What's up? Hey, everybody.
So this was an idea, right, that was kind of created this past couple weeks. I guess a few weeks ago, you guys were trying to kind of mock us a little bit. I could tell.
Never.
No mocks.
Never.
No. Well, we should actually just start out with explaining to the world how much you really love me and my, the special place that I have in your heart, Melanie. Why don't you just go ahead and tell?
I don't know. Does it need to be? I don't know. Isn't it obvious? Can't you hear it in my voice, the love and adoration that I have for my colleague, Brandon Purett?
Yeah, thank you.
So happy that God directed your path here to the 253 8 years ago. And look at us. We're going to be together forever.
Forever.
Name it and claim it.
This is it.
Hallelujah.
That is awesome. Okay, so there's, as you know, we have our podcast cover, and it's Dean and myself. And then I walked into the office the other day, and there was a new takeover. Tate, you created it.
Yeah, you know I love Photoshop.
Yeah, and it was you and Melanie.
Yeah.
And you guys were back to back, looking great. And it said hashtag Ministry Mom Podcast, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And
That's
you're
not
like,
the full title.
that wasn't the full title?
No.
Okay, what was the full title?
Yours is uncut edition. Ours is unshowered edition.
Oh my God. That is incredible.
Because we're moms and have no time to take a shower.
Yeah,
which is
it's
true of my life
today.
Today.
Swear.
I know.
I know.
I'm kidding.
It's her. I showered.
Yeah, okay.
Today.
Oh man. Okay, so we were like, this is funny, but when you started to think about it, I was like, yeah, let's do it,
Yeah.
So maybe in months to come, maybe weeks to come, hey, maybe even days to come, there might be another podcast out there. It's called, Ministry Mom. But for today, we thought we would, talk to you because the last 5 episodes or so has been all men. And it's, been Dean and myself and a few guests kind of talking about being disreputable. And basically what we've been talking through that is, has there ever been a point in time in your life where decisions that you made were in the perception of somebody else and it deemed you to be disreputable?
Sure. Yeah.
And how do you combat that? And how do you, so we don't have to necessarily tie everything in today to being disreputable, but if for some reason this is the first episode that people are listening to, we kind of want to give them a little backstory. When we say Ministry Mom, I think this was something, Melanie, that was started by you, it seems like years ago now.
But really only 3 years ago.
Because of
first child turned 3 last week.
Okay, so wow. That's crazy.
I know.
Okay, so what were we driving down the road one day and you were like, I'm going to hashtag, or was this a feeling that you had inside?
Yes, literally driving down the road. I was leaving my precious newborn child to go to church, to ministry, which I feel called to do.
Yeah.
It's like something that I just feel in your gut that you feel like, yeah, I'm meant and I'm made to do this.
Yeah.
But I love this child that I just had. She was 3.5 months old. Love her. She's precious. Her name's Rosary. She's the most beautiful child in the whole wide world, for those of you who don't know. And I'm like, I am called, I am meant to be her mother. There's nothing that I love more than being her mom.
Right.
And I love my job. I love being in ministry. And so I felt these two pulls. And I think for women, it is kind of a disreputable idea, right?
Yes.
To leave your house, to leave your child with your husband or a grandparent or a caretaker and go and do something for yourself that you feel also that you were created to do in the workplace. And so that's kind of a disreputable
for sure
idea. And I thought, you know what? God's taking care of her right now where she's at. She's at home. She's safe. She's with my husband. God's taking care of me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm just a ministry mom. And a lot of people, a lot of women that are in ministry, you know, their husband is in the ministry or so they're kind of married into it. My husband's in the healthcare industry. So it's kind of a different roles that we have. And so that kind of is where it developed. And it was something that I thought of in a tweet, and then I hashtag ministry mom. And 3 years later, I have 2 children and still doing it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy too is like, you know, I know you use the hashtag ministry mom, but it could just be maybe just hashtag working mom or
working mom. And the fact that you have to put a title on mom for women is that idea, I think, too, can be disreputable because you feel like if you're not just a mom, then like all of a sudden you're hashtag a working mom or you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a whatever mom. It's different. It's a different idea. And there's all this, you know, on social media, mom shaming or whatever. Like actually, we're just women who have children and we still move on with our life and have other, you know, multiple things. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes tons of sense. And, you know, the balance of it all is probably what makes it so difficult. You know, talk a little bit about, and feel free to chime in whenever you'd like. Talk a little bit about the balance of, because to be honest with you, you know, like I woke up this morning, took my kids to school, dropped them off, boom. You know, most of the time when we have service, my wife I can leave the house early, go to the church, get prepared. If we have meetings, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, hey, babe, I got to roll. But that's different maybe for you because there's some level of responsibility that, you got to roll, and you might be rolling with both of them or just one of them. Or how do you balance that? How do you rationalize that in your head?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's a really supportive husband.
Okay.
I think it's also, what can I take them to? If I can take them to everything, then I'm going to do that. And I think it's just inviting them to come along with you is a huge part for me. And especially I have older kids that I married into, I guess you could say. And so having them just learn to be a part of the ministry and doing kids ministry for me, it makes it difficult sometimes because they can think that I'm spending more time with other people's kids and not with them.
Yeah.
And so inviting them along to make friends or to be a part of whatever these other kids are doing, it's huge.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that just for a second, because you said anything that you could take your children along, you would.
Yeah.
Which means you enjoy being a mom.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Mom isn't like a job to you. Being a mom I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say being a mom would be your calling into some way?
Yeah. And I feel like in a lot of ways it's my number one calling.
Right.
That we have like a poster, not a poster, but like a painting on our wall, and it says, it's that Mother Teresa quote that says, like, if you want to bring happiness to the whole world, go home and love your family.
Wow.
For me, and that is like the premise of what starts me out every single day, thinking about my kids and thinking about how I want them to know Jesus and what that looks like to communicate that to other kids. And it's huge.
Yeah. Okay. Are you stressed ever?
All the time.
Okay. How do you? Okay. Like.
Is that honest enough?
Sure. Yeah.
But I agree with what Tate said of bringing your kids along, because Dean, one of the first things Dean and Ann said, you know, when my husband and I were starting out, like, bring your children along to as many things as you can, because they have great kids that love church. They love the ministry. They're not in it actively, but they love it. And so I've always, you know, brought Rosary and now Giovanni as much as I can. But you're always stressed, because I would love to get up in the morning, to get dressed and walk out of the house.
Sure.
But you can't.
Right.
You get up, you get them dressed, you get them fed, you walk out of the door with 5,000 bags, literally. Try to get your coffee. Drop one off. I'm on my way here. I'm praying one goes to sleep in the car.
Sure.
I'm talking to Rosary on the phone, making sure she's okay, because I miss her.
Right.
And then I love doing this right now. So it's all stress, but I think your capacity just grows. And I think that's why moms or women stay away from, I don't think I can do it all.
Yeah.
You can do it all. It's just the same way someone said, I'm like, your capacity grows when you have another child.
Right.
I thought I could never love another child as much as I love Rosary.
Sure.
How am I going to love this new baby boy?
Yeah.
And my heart has grown, and I love them both equally. and my capacity has grown because I have a great job that I love and I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about 2 kids, and you wake up one day and you're like, I'm doing it. That doesn't mean you're not going to be stressed.
Yeah.
But you're going to be stressed anyways.
And late.
Right.
And late.
Yeah.
And unshowered.
Right.
And frazzled and checking your phone and
Yeah.
you know.
But you kind of learn how to prioritize and figure out, I mean, maybe this is true for you, but you learn how to prioritize and say, like, God, what do you have for me today? What are you asking me to do today? Who do you have for me today?
Okay.
And I think then I mean, for me, that's a question that I ask myself often. And so if I can impact one kid, one family that day, then that's enough. I heard this guy talk about one time about margins within your day, and I thought that was such a great idea because I am a person, like I said, always running late, always kind of running behind, maybe a little stressed, but this idea of creating margin within your day, and he talked about a psychiatrist that if he could do 8 sessions in a day, he would only do 7 because he wanted to be able to go home and give his best to his kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I kind of try to do that within my day. Like if I can work till 5 o'clock, maybe only work till 4, because then I have that hour to just be able to focus on my kids and give them undivided attention. Or my husband, maybe that's, he wants me to make dinner or whatever. Being able to give my best also to them in a stressed or, running late all the time.
Yeah, it seems like to me you guys have dynamic husbands too, because I mean, it doesn't. I know you both relatively well, and so they seem to really pick up a lot of. Not necessarily like to use the word slack, because it's not slack. It's just they just have a responsibility, a different level of responsibility. So they may cook, or they may help clean, or they may help put
Grocery
baths and grocery shop,
Yeah.
which to some listeners who may be listening, like that might be the woman's responsibility.
Right,
But
sure.
you guys found men in your life that can help carry the load,
Yeah.
if you will, and you guys have found ways to work together. Talk to somebody today. You said the word capacity just a minute ago. There's a quote that we try to live by as a team, and it's when your capacity expands, it forces you to be the person that God created you to be. So you was like, I could never go without one, and now you can't imagine, what it would be like without 2.
Right,
You said
right,
capacity yourself. So it's thrusting you, it's propelling you to be the person that God created you to be. Talk to somebody out there today that's like, yeah, but my husband isn't like that.
Right.
Because you have the luxury, I think, a little bit, in like, Floyd and Zach are great husbands. But
There's also single moms
yeah,
that are doing it. I don't even know
Alone.
how, and I think about them and all the time.
My mom
And
was a
honestly,
single mom.
Yeah.
And I can remember eating dinner of like, okay, so we're going to get somewhere. I can remember eating dinner like Lucky Charms and Taco Bell. And we laugh about it still to this day. But there's probably somebody who was watching our life going, I can't believe that woman's feeding that kid Taco Bell or something.
Right.
How do you handle the moms, the judgmental eyes, or, well, I like to call them park moms, because sometimes my kids go up the slide the wrong way, or they like to jump out of the swing or whatever. And I can always tell there's these couple people and they're giving me the mean look, It's like, just let my kids play. Okay, how do you, on a greater scale, because, you're the mom, how do you handle those emotions, those feelings of like, hey, maybe you did just have to get your kid a cheeseburger from X or whatever,
Yeah, the Happy Meal that I got her last night.
Sure. Or I was going to say cake pop, but I just want
She eats those.
I know, right? She blames them on Rosary.
She doesn't
For
buy those for her.
bribery.
Yeah.
Okay, the cake pop comes in great, and it's like $1. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
yes,
There
it's
you
great.
go.
But your capacity grows, and I think when you focus your eyes on your children and
Good.
focus your ears on the Spirit, we call it the Spirit of Jesus,
Yeah.
Right.
and you keep focus. You can't have a growing capacity if you're looking to the side, like all over. You got to keep your eyes on your children, what God has put literally in front of you. And I think my children are a direct gift from God. When he says life begins, right?
Right.
So he's given me these 2 children. I'm keeping my focus on him. And he's also created me in such a way to have leanings and desires to do other things and work and do all these things. And so I keep my eyes on what God has put in front of me, and I keep my ears listening to what he has to say to me every day. Like Tate was saying, you know, what do you have for us today as a family?
Yeah.
Right.
What is not just me, but now for my husband, for Giovanni, for Rosary.
Right.
And then you just walk step by step. There is no balance.
Yeah. Is it hard?
There's no balance. That's a thing.
Right.
Like, there's no trying to compare yourself
Okay.
to
That's what I was going to
whatever.
ask.
Well, yeah, and
Is it hard to not compare?
Yeah, because you open your phone and you compare to the person that just posted this perfect Instagram of breakfast and this like wonderful atmosphere, and all their children are matching, and
I hear
crazy.
I hear that for sure, and I feel like I'm full of quotes now. But I heard this.
She studied
quoting-
before this
no,
podcast.
sorry,
you know?
I'm like quoting all these.
She's
people.
got a book here, guys.
No, but
kidding.
there's this. I heard somebody. I had somebody tell me, a close friend actually, tell me that don't ever look at someone else's life and now I'm butchering it. Don't look at someone else's life or their calling and want that for yourself, because when you do, you like devalue your own calling
Yeah,
and
it's
your
good.
own walk. And so when I look at those moms and they're, you know, saying I used the crosswalk wrong or
Sure.
the carpool line wrong, and I'm dropping my kid off in the wrong spot, and that has happened so many times.
Right.
I'm terrible at the crosswalk and drive-through thing or whatever. But when those moms look at me and they're like, shaming me or whatever, or the side eye, like I look at them and I'm like, do I want to be like them, or do I want to look like them, or do their kids even like them?
Sure.
And so then I go home and I'm like, do my kids like me?
Yeah.
Are they happy? Are they showered? Are they doing their Devo?
Sure.
Like, do my kids like me? Do they love me? Are they happy? And when I can do it and I measure it like that, and then plus in addition to what Jesus is calling me to do, then that for me is huge.
Right.
And so, I don't know. That's kind of my perspective on that. I don't look at their side eye and be like, oh crap, I feel bad about myself. I look at my kids and, like Melanie said, are they happy? Are they, those kind of things.
Yeah. Is there at some point where you just can't take it? Is there a point where you're like, this is too much?
When you get to that point, you think, okay, what is wrong with me? Do I need an hour of sleep? Do I need to eat? Do I need to take a walk? Because yes.
And those are your de-stressors.
Yeah, and every day you're like, okay, this is too much.
Okay.
And then I remember, okay, so what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And because I know it's not too much, because
Right.
God's given it
That's
to me.
good.
He's given me territory. He's given me lives to steward. He's given me a marriage to, take care of. So what do I need to check in my spirit? Is it just time alone and let God, speak to me? We say speak to us, just hear from
Right.
him. Or is it just a walk? Last night, it looked like a family walk. We got out of the house, the four of us, and we walked the neighborhood for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to like breathe in. I don't think we said a word to each other really, except for our Instagram. But I think we were it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like a reset. So there's always going to be a time when you think it's too much. But
Yeah.
then you need to fill it up, because the answer is not to quit.
Right.
And the answer is not, okay, I've got to give away one of my children. And the answer is not
Right.
like, I'm going to quit my job because that fulfills me in a different way. The
Right.
answer is not, I'm going to, end this marriage because it's too much to work on. No, then the answer is, what can I do?
Yeah.
What's missing from me? And is that something I need to do, or is that something I need to back off on? Maybe it's an hour of sleep. An hour of sleep, a nap, a 30-minute nap can do a whole lot for a mama. So if you're listening out there and you have a single mom in your life,
Go to sleep.
or if you have something, like, what can you do in 30 minutes? Like,
Right.
what can you give that mom for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Just come over and watch the kids and let her go to sleep.
Yeah.
Let her take a walk, go get her grocery. I mean, I call it a miracle a day. This is my other thing I've been living by, is a miracle a day. I think some people live like, they need the Red Sea to be parted or something for a miracle. But I think God gives us miracles every single day. Einstein said there are two ways to live and to look at life. Look at life like everything is a miracle,
Yeah.
or nothing is a miracle.
Wow.
And I have decided to look like everything is a miracle.
That's
That's
great.
someone showing up at my doorstep and saying, hey, I have 30 minutes to give you. Go take a nap, go take a shower, go do
Nice.
whatever.
Nice.
Or if it looks like my cousin texting me and saying, hey, I can take rosary for 2 hours.
Nice.
Like, that's a miracle to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But, there's just different things. And so when you put on a different lens of, I can do this, I'm going to do this, there's no quit. And there's a miracle that's going to happen today. I don't know how it's going to come or how I'm going to need it, but God's going to provide it.
Yeah.
I think that changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that reset is huge.
Yeah.
For us, it we had a larger family for this last 10 months, I guess you could say. We had 2 boys move in with us, and they just moved out with their family, which is really awesome. But for us, having that many kids in a pretty small house, we had a kid even living in our kitchen, which was just like, you wake up and they're there every single day, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Close to the snacks,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and oh gosh, yeah. So for us, a reset literally looked like every night, all the kids piled up on the couch and just talking. How's your day? How's it going? What's going on that's good? What's going on that's bad? How can we pray for you? How can we be there for you? And then we were honest as parents. Hey,
Yeah.
here's some stuff that's been going on in our house that makes it feel more chaotic.
Yeah.
Let's try and do, this tomorrow differently.
Yeah.
And that reset is huge. And then, because then it just makes it to where when they're going to bed on a good note of, hey, our parents love us. Hey, our caregivers, they love us and they're proud of us. And tomorrow we're going to wake up and try to be better than what we were today. And that reset for us, like Melanie was saying, is huge.
Yeah. Well, I've watched you both, and you inspire me as a pastor and a friend and a father to keep going. And I never forget watching, Melanie come in, and she's got her laptop, her coffee, her child, her bag, her jacket, her sunglasses, and she's on the phone. And somehow you are an insane woman, and I applaud you. And Tate, being my sister, it's like I've been to your house and just kind of see how you lead, and you really are a great mom. And as you can tell, there's so much more information that we could just keep going and keep going, but we don't want to spill it all in episode 6. So you guys are going to be back. I think we might do a little Mother's Day edition or something fun.
go.
And thank you guys for being with us today. And thank you to all of our listeners, and please share and download. And we are super grateful for you. So have a great rest of your week.
Deuces.